Hi everyone, this is Teal from puckerblocks.com. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to paint a watercolor chart. So let me show you an example first. This is a watercolor chart that I painted with Kremer Pigments, and so there were 14 colors in the box set. So this is the range of colors that you can get out of that particular box set. And here's another example. This one is from Daniel Smith. This is a palette created out of Daniel Smith paints. So these are 15 colors that are suggested by Jane Blundell from a course that I attended last year. And so this is the range of colors that you can get from Daniel Smith, the 15 colors. So in this demonstration, I will be showing you how to paint these color charts. To keep the video short, I'm not going to use a lot of colors. I'm just going to be using 3 colors, the primary colors: yellow, blue, and red. So what's the point of color chart? Basically is to help you get a sense of the variety of colors that you can get out of your palette that you have, and also help you, after you look at the color chart, it will help you see what colors that you are mixing, so you can get a sense of whether or not you should add a particular color or not. The color chart is also very useful as a reference. For example, this Kremer Pigments one that I painted, if I have not painted this color chart, I will not be able to use this as a reference to compare it against other brands. So this is a very good useful reference to have. And when you are a beginner starting out, it's also good to let you see what colors you can mix from. So let's take a look at the materials that you need to create a color chart. Alright, let's take a look at what we need. Let's go through them one by one from the top to bottom. You definitely need a ruler to measure the grid that you are going to draw, stuff like this. Then you need a mixing palette. I like this one because it has a lot of mixing wells. This is a plastic palette. You can use metal palettes as well. Watercolor paper. This is 10 by 7 inches. So 10 by 7 inches because today I'm just going to be painting 3 colors: primary, yellow, red, and blue. So I don't need that big piece of paper. But if you want to paint more colors, for example, this is a 10 by 10 inch piece of paper that I can manage to squeeze in 12 colors in each row and column. And each square here is about 1.5 cm. I think this is a good size 10 by 10 inch watercolor paper. But if you have less watercolors in your palette, for example, this is only made out of 10 colors, and you will be able to draw bigger squares. This square is about 2 cm. So today I'm just going to be using 3 colors, so I am using a smaller piece of paper. Then you need paper towel, which is very convenient. Then you need some container of water to wash your brush. I use two to keep my brush clean. Later I'll show you how. Then you need a watercolor brush. You can use either a round brush or a flat brush. So since we are going to be painting squares today, we'll just use a flat brush. And of course, to draw the grid that you'll be painting on, you will need either a pencil or a pen. I will choose a pen because I like the strong contrast of the lines. Make sure you get a pen with a waterproof ink inside. So the one I'm using here is a Uniball Vision needle. It has waterproof pigment ink inside. That's the one I'm using. And then we have the watercolor palette. So it doesn't matter what brand you are using. I don't even know some of these colors by name, but you need a yellow, blue, and red. So I know some of you are going to have 12 colors. For example, in this palette that I have 12 colors, but I'm just going to use 3 today. Okay, let's start and draw the grid now. Okay, let me show you what we are going to achieve very quickly, just a preview of what before we start painting. So I'm just going to be using 3 colors. So 3 plus 1, that will give me 4. I need 4 columns and 4 rows. This will be my grid. 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, and 3. This will give me 4 rows and 4 columns. So we use color pencils to see, just to give you a quick look. Okay, so we will be basically filling colors here, 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 and here, here, and here. So this row here will be empty in the middle. Let's take a look at this example. So this will be empty in the middle. So you just paint your colors at the top row and on the left column. Alright, let's start drawing in the grid. I'm using 3 colors, so that would mean I need 4 rows, and I'm going to draw each row as 1 inch. So basically I will flush my ruler to the top, and since I need 4 and each is 1 inch, I need 4 inch in total. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Mark out the top, 2, 3, and 4. And just mark it out. And on this side it will be the same. And the top row here, after that you can use the markers to the marks that you made to connect the dots. Oops, let me draw it. Mark 1, 2, 3. Yes, something like that. So before you start, it would be good to write in the colors that you'll be using. So I'll be using, just leave the top left hand side empty. I'll be using Hansa yellow, Pyro red, and Halo blue. And that's it. Make sure that the ink is dry before you add the watercolors, or the ink will smudge. Wash my brush first. Now let me add some drops of water to the watercolor first, just to wet them so that they will dissolve easier. Okay, now for my swatches I tend to add a bit more paint than usual just to get a saturated color. So okay, so I mixed 2 portions here because I'll be mixing red and blue later, so I need 2 portions. So if you are going to be, if you have a 12 color palette, then you need to mix a bit more. For example, 12 color, taking out your yellow, that will give you 11, so you have to mix 11 portions. Okay, let's go in with the Hansa yellow. Try and keep within the lines so that the colors do not bleed much into one another. So once you color the first one, go diagonally to fill in the other square. Okay, so after the yellow, I'll wash my brush here. Now the reason I have 2 containers of water is because one, I want to use this to wash, give it a quick wash, quick rinse, and then use the clean one to pick up, to give it another wash to make it cleaner. Then I'll add in the red color. Let me add a bit more water. So this one I'll add for the blue as well. So let me go in with the red now. See that red is so much stronger. So let me use this red to mix with the yellow. So red and yellow will be on this column. I think I may have added a bit more red to this, so let me add a bit more yellow to balance it out. Yeah, so you can see that this one has more red and this one has more yellow, so it doesn't really matter, but just to give you an idea on what you can mix. So let me wash it out again and clean it and use phthalo blue. Oops, I forgot. And go in with the phthalo blue this time. And phthalo blue will, I need to mix more blue because I need to mix the blue with the red and the yellow, so I actually need one more there. Okay, the blue will now go with the yellow. It's a very, they are easy to mix, but it's very tedious process. So I have the last mix here, blue and red. Wash it again. Make sure you try to take as much water out when possible when you have already have some colors here, because you don't want to add more water to dilute the pigments. This is a bit strange. I was expecting more like purple color, so this is like more neutral towards black like that. It's very interesting. Let me try and add more red and blue and see what actually happens to the color. It's quite interesting color. Okay, so that's what we have. You wash the brush. Use paper towel to clean up a bit. Basically, after that, we just wait for it to dry. Okay, this is pretty much dry now, so let's take a look at what we have. Some interesting colors that I did not actually expect, especially for the red and blue mixture. But let's look at the red and yellow mixture. So this one I added a bit more yellow, so it's more orangey, and this one is more red, but also I think I did not add too much water to it. So this one is a bit dull down. So sometimes you want to be careful with how much water you're going to use in your color mixture. So we have Tailor Blue and yellow will give you this green. Now the interesting color for me here would be, the interesting mixture would be red and blue, which gives me this sort of a neutral, dark, I'm not sure how to, the grayish, a bit gray color. So usually when I mix red and blue, it will give me something like, I would say, take a look at here, maybe I was expecting some colors like purple. And yeah, so this one gives me a darker gray kind of color, even though I was expecting purple. So this is how the color chart will be useful to you, just to get a sense of what colors you can mix out of the colors that you have. So basically what you see here, it means that I will need to get either another red or another blue to mix the purple, because I cannot mix purple with the red and blue here. Let's take a look at this color chart. This color chart is actually made of the 12 colors here that I use. This one is core colors. So I use basically Hansa Yellow Medium, Pyro Red, and Tailor Blue green shade. So this is the full color chart that took me more than 1 or 2 hours, and this one just took me a few minutes. So with the full color chart, you'll be able to get a clearer view of what you can get out of the mixture. So this one is core. Let's take a look at some other color charts. This one is Mission Gold. This one is a 10 tube set that I bought recently. You can see that the colors here versus this one. Both are pigments from tube. So this one is definitely more saturated. You can see that the colors is brighter, stronger compared to core watercolors. And bear in mind that I have already painted 2 color charts, 1 and 2. So both times the colors, they are a bit more like candy-like, more pastel-like as compared to Mission Gold. And yes, let's take a look. Oh, be careful when you're drawing the lines. You can see that I have an extra line, double line here, so that's a mistake. And try not to use be careful about how much water you're using. Let me take a zoom in. So you can see here I use a bit too much water. When the water dries, there's some background, but other than that, it should be fine. Let's take a look at this one. This is Kremer Pigments. So this one is quite, I like this. I like Kremer Pigments quite a lot. You can see there are quite a lot of mixtures here because there are 14 colors. So I managed to squeeze in all 14 into the top row and the column on the side. What I want you to take note of is this portion here is they have 3 yellows and 3 reds and a few browns, but I put all the warm colors here so you can see visually. This area here is quite warm, and then we have the blue and greens here. We have the purple and the sort of neutral tones here. Then we have the blue greens here, and we have the brown section at the bottom. So this one gives me quite a good variety. This one is the Daniel Smith set. This one I think is even, how should I say? This one you can see that the portion, the warm portion here is a bit smaller than this portion here. But this one has even more variety. I think this one has a better variety compared to Kremer Pigments. But it really depends on how many primary colors you have in your palette. So the more primary colors you have, the more variety you are going to be able to mix. This one has actually 5 earth tones. So you can see how the earth tones, they give more subtlety to the primary colors. This one is Sennelier. Colors here are quite vibrant as well, and I noticed that this palette can mix quite a lot of darks as compared to, let's say, Kremer Pigments. So let's put it side by side to compare. So you notice that overall the colors here are darker than Kremer Pigments. This is my personal palette I'm using, Daniel Smith. This has only 10 colors. So with a color chart, you will also be able to sieve out duplicate colors that you might not need. For example, when I bought this 10 Daniel Smith colors, I bought burnt sienna as well as permanent brown. And after mixing, I realized that, hey, the colors in this row and this row are pretty much the same, so permanent brown is sort of a duplicate color for me. I prefer Italian burnt sienna because of the grays, beautiful grays it can mix with ultramarine, and it also dials down the other colors quite beautifully. So permanent brown is a color that I discovered after painting the mixing chart that I do not really need. This one is Schmincke. Schmincke is interesting. You can see that this area, they have a larger area of the sort of more dialed down color, but this one is actually quite nice as well. I quite like the color selection in this palette as well. And okay, this is a Pebeo. This is a China brand. You can see that the colors are really not as saturated as compared to Schmincke on the right side. So this is a student, even though they say that it's professional, after you paint it out, you realize that, hey, this is actually more like student brand pigments to me. This is definitely professional. So I think I have a Cotman somewhere. This is a Cotman. On the right side, we have a Winsor & Newton Cotman, a student brand series. Now, compare these two series, you notice that this one has more saturation. And even though for a student brand, it's quite saturated. And the colors are quite vibrant as compared to Daniel Smith on the left side. So this one is quite worth the money. Winsor & Newton Cotman series. So I think that's about all. And yep, be careful when you're painting stuff like this out. Like I mentioned just now, it's better to write down the colors first before you paint them. So I painted this chart halfway through, and then I realized that I missed a red color here. So since I'm just in the early stages of painting this color chart, I decided to redo the whole thing. Yes, just to get a more accurate presentation of the color chart. Let me show you the finished chart for that one. Oh, okay. So this is actually Kremer Pigments. So just be careful, don't try and rush through it, just paint it slowly and make sure there are no mistakes. So all these charts are made, how should I say, over a few years actually. These two are painted in this year. Those, I think the rest are painted many years ago. So now I have a huge collection of color charts that I can use to compare across different brands. So they are very useful reference. Just make sure to write the names of the brand as well as the colors before you do that. So we have almost come to the end of the video. Actually, I painted two color charts just now in the demonstration. This one is the earlier one, the first version that I painted. I thought the colors were a bit too weak. Like there's something wrong, so I went into painting another color chart, which is the one you see in the video just now. Then I realized that, hey, the colors are just I think not that strong as compared to other colors. There's nothing wrong with the colors, they are just like that. So the color charts are helpful for you because you can see how the colors turn out when you're actually painting them. So let's take, one thing I wanted to mention is that you can also see after we mix the colors together, you can see the different types of granulation, how the colors actually work together, because some colors they don't mix well with other colors. Like for example, some brands of Prussian blue, they do not mix cleanly with other colors, and that is something that will come out clearly when you are mixing Prussian blue with your other colors. So in this case, let's go back to the Kremer Pigments chart. You can see that actually I like this Kremer Pigments because they have a lot of granulation. Like even the reds, they have a lot of granulation, blues and browns. It's like the whole color chart is so there's a lot of texture and visual interest going on because of the granulation, the gradients and stuff like that. And with a color chart you can compare against, let's say, a color that mixes very cleanly. So here we have Sennelier and Kremer Pigments. This one will have a more textural feel. Kremer Pigments will have a more textural feel because of the granulation. And for Sennelier, in this particular palette, I realized that the colors actually mix very clean. So you can see that all the colors here are quite clean in mixture. There's no separation of colors. They mix very, very well. So that's all for this video. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask them in the comment section below. And remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more art product reviews in the future. Thank you for watching. See you next time.